We tend to look around at our modern world and assume we are finished, that our time as physical adapters on the savannah is over, and the human body has settled into its final fixed form. The medical record tells a completely different story. Inside hospitals and clinics right now, doctors are documenting biological hardware that is still actively updating. Rare genetic mutations are scattered across the population, quietly granting ordinary people physical traits that border on superhuman. Treating the human body as a completed chapter creates a severe blind spot. It obscures the living, breathing evolutionary leaps happening right in front of us. In 1994, a man was rushed to a hospital after a massive car accident. The kinetic forces involved should have shattered dozens of bones. But when doctors checked his x-rays, they found 0 fractures. His skeleton was entirely intact. Researchers at Yale University investigated and found the cause in a gene called LRP5. This specific gene acts as the control dial for bone density, and in his DNA, that dial is cranked to the absolute maximum, producing bones up to 8 times denser than average. A normal human skeleton weighs roughly 10 pounds. His can weigh closer to 80. Because of that extreme mass, people with this mutation simply sink in water. Normal human buoyancy does not apply to them. A single typo in their genetic code rewrote how their physical bodies interact with gravity and water. This diagram shows how a protein called myostatin normally puts a hard ceiling on how large human muscles can grow. But in 1999, a baby was born in Germany with fully defined, striated muscles. His body carried a mutation that switches off that myostatin barrier entirely, allowing his muscle tissue to build continuously. By age 4, he was holding 3-kilogram weights with fully extended arms. Total suppression of this gene is incredibly rare, but carrying one altered copy is not. Scientists have found elite athletes who carry this partial mutation, meaning their bodies naturally build far more muscle from the exact same training as everyone else. These individual anomalies show how easily our genome can bypass strict biological limits. But the scale shifts dramatically when a mutation like this spreads across an entire population. Right now, roughly 1% of people with Northern European ancestry share a highly specific biological defense. They are, for all practical purposes, completely immune to HIV. Normally, HIV enters cells through a doorway called the CCR5 receptor, but the CCR5 delta 32 mutation deletes this doorway entirely. The virus bounces off. Yet genetic sequencing proves this mutation first appeared hundreds of years before HIV existed. Scientists trace its rapid spread back to the 14th century, right when the Black Death was killing 1 in 3 Europeans. The bubonic plague bacteria likely used that exact same CCR5 doorway to attack the immune system. People lacking the doorway survived the plague, had more children, and passed the mutation down. A devastating pandemic accidentally pre-programmed modern descendants with a built-in biological shield against a virus that would not even exist for another 6 centuries. A standard human requires 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Miss just a fraction of that, your memory falters, your reaction times drop, and the damage compounds. Unless you carry a mutation in a gene called DEC2. A small group of people with this variant sleep only 4 to 6 hours a night, wake up naturally without alarms, and show absolute 0 signs of sleep deprivation on clinical brain scans. The benefits extend well past those extra waking hours. In clinical measures, these short sleepers show markers of slower cognitive aging. Their mental sharpness remains intact at ages when standard brains begin to decline. Evolution is actively re-engineering the brain for strict temporal efficiency, giving these individuals decades more conscious awareness over a lifetime with 0 biological penalty. In 1980, a cardiologist in northern Italy examined a patient from a tiny, isolated village called Limone sul Garda. The patient's blood work showed dangerously low levels of good cholesterol. He should have been suffering from severe artery disease, but his arteries were perfectly clear. The doctor traced this biological anomaly through local family trees, following it all the way back to a single man born in the village in 1780. Every one of his living descendants carries an altered protein called apolipoprotein A1 Milano. Instead of merely transporting cholesterol, this mutated version acts as a hyper-efficient cleaner, rapidly stripping plaque from the arterial walls of the 40 people who carry it. Through geographic isolation and random genetic chance, this small Italian village developed a built-in inheritable immunity to heart disease, the leading cause of death on the planet. Researchers eventually isolated this exact Italian mutation, replicated it in a laboratory, and administered it to patients with critical artery disease. Within just 5 weeks, they documented a measurable reduction in arterial plaque. The most effective medical treatments of the next century will likely not be invented from scratch. They will be borrowed directly from the immune systems and cellular mutations of the people sitting next to us. The human genome is a continuously branching blueprint. It is still testing, still refining, and the biological adaptations required to save our species are already walking among us today.